You had your best revenue year ever, and you have $3,000 in the bank. Those two sentences should not both be true, and yet they are constantly for small business owners who did nothing wrong. Quick note before we get into it: I'm an AI avatar of Askia Roberts, a licensed CPA. Every word here was written and approved by the real me. Here's what's actually happening: profit and cash are not the same number, and the gap between them is where good businesses get bad surprises. I'm going to show you exactly why that gap exists and what to do about it before it happens to you. Here's the confusion almost every new business owner runs into. Profit is an accounting number, revenue minus expenses calculated on paper for a specific period. Cash is a completely different thing. It's what's actually sitting in your bank account right now that you can spend. These two numbers should eventually line up, but at any given moment, they can be wildly different. And the reason is timing. You might invoice a client in March and not get paid until May. You might pay your team and your vendors in April for work tied to a February project. Taxes get calculated on profit for the year, but the bill comes due months later, sometimes after that profit has already been spent on payroll, inventory, or growth. None of this is a mistake. It's just how timing works until you plan around it. Picture it as a timeline instead of a spreadsheet. You deliver the work. Before the client pays you, you've already paid your team, your subcontractors, your software bills, your rent. That gap between money going out and money coming in is where the cash crunch actually lives. For a lot of small businesses, that gap is measured in weeks. For businesses with net 30 or net 60 client payment terms, it can be measured in months. Layer estimated taxes on top, due quarterly, calculated on profit you may not have collected as cash yet, and you get exactly the scenario from the hook: a great year on paper and a checking account that says otherwise. This is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign nobody showed you the calendar version of your finances. This pattern doesn't hit every business the same way. And to be clear, these are illustrative patterns, not a promise for your specific business. Contractors and trades businesses often front material and labor costs weeks before an invoice is even sent, let alone paid. Practice owners dealing with insurance reimbursement can wait a month or more after service is delivered. Professional services and consulting firms billing on net 30 or net 60 terms carry the gap the longest, sometimes stretching 2 full billing cycles. The businesses most likely to feel this aren't doing anything wrong. They're just carrying the widest gap between delivering the work and collecting for it. And that gap is exactly what a cash flow plan is built to cover. Here's the part that should be reassuring. Fixing this doesn't require a finance degree. It requires 3 things. First, a minimum cash reserve sized to your actual gap. Not a guess, a number based on how long your collection cycle really runs. Second, a rolling 90-day cash forecast, not just a profit and loss statement, so you can see a crunch coming before it arrives instead of after. Third, adjusting when you set aside money for taxes, so the bill in September isn't a surprise pulled from cash you need for payroll in August. None of this changes how much money you make. It changes whether you know where it is. If you're in a cash-intensive business, trades, a practice, or professional services, this pattern hits you differently depending on which one you are. And the fix looks a little different too. The link in the description goes to the right playbook for your business type. Just tell us what you run. What?
That business owner from the beginning isn't stuck reading their bank balance and feeling confused. The fix isn't more revenue, it's knowing ahead of time exactly when the gap between delivering the work and getting for it is going to squeeze. A cash reserve size to your real collection cycle and a 90-day forecast turn a surprise into a Tuesday. You don't need a finance team for this. You need about 15 minutes and the right numbers for your specific business. That's what's waiting behind the link below.